Welcome to an English episode of the podcast Old Never When. When what happens? I'm glad I can share this interview with this gentleman. He definitely challenges our thinking about aging. So listen carefully.
Yeah, my name is Gabi Barton, the 70 years old founder of the NPO now, Never Old When. And my guest is Aubrey de Grey, biomedical gerontologist. Sorry, it's a difficult word for me, German. And president and chief scientific officer of the LIF Foundation in the USA. Good morning.
Good morning.
LEF is not the only organization you founded or co-founded. For over 20 years, you are on the mission to stop the aging process and potentially push back the death.
That's more or less true, yes. I have this LEV Foundation. We don't actually call it LEV, we call it LEV Foundation.
Okay, sorry, I
That's
haven't
okay.
heard it.
Yeah, this is the third organization that I have led. The first one was called the Methuselah Foundation, and then there was Sense Research Foundation, and now there's this one. And they were all US-based public charities doing research to develop new medicines that will postpone the health problems of late life and extend people's lives.
Yeah. Before we go into the details of my questions, to set today's topic, let me ask you, how would you end our statement, never old when, the statement of the organization? Never old when?
Um, I did not think of it as a statement, but I guess I would say never old when you were born a long time ago.
What does it mean? When
Well,
I
I
was
guess it means you do not, the goal is that you will not be biologically old, even if you are chronologically old.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Yeah. Yeah, would be great. So why we are talking today together, your article in the Standard UK, the link is then in the show notes. The article recently published has triggered to get in touch with you because for me it was very interesting. The first time that the topic of longevity was discussed related to the dimension of the elderly, of the old population. It often annoys me that longevity is mainly discussed in relation to the children born today or to the active generation up to 50. Yeah. So, and you made really important points. You were sharing that in the past 5 years, the longevity has undoubtedly become one of the most important field in the science. And investors pouring billions into it. So, from your perspective, a aging world is only just around the corner.
Well,
Maybe.
so yeah, maybe is the critical thing. I understand very well that this is pioneering technology, and therefore that the best that I can say as an expert in this field is that there is a high probability that we will reach a comprehensive control over aging fairly soon. I cannot say that there is any kind of certainty. Maybe there is a 50% chance that we will reach that point within the next 12 to 15 years, but there is at least a 5% chance that we will not reach it for 100 years.
Mm-hmm. Okay. In the article, you made the point that retirees have overwhelmingly, in general, given up on the idea, that any significant breakthrough regarding aging and the connected the diseases could occur in time for them. Um, I was surprised about this because I'm definitely different. But I'm maybe not the standard old person because I would love to be healthy and vital for over 100 years. Yeah, I love life, and I'm still not done with it. I see so much. I would have much more experiences and learn new things and to see what's going on in the world. Yeah, especially because I grew up in the time of no internet. Yeah, and the upcoming of the internet was for me great, and I'm really following what's going on. And now with AI and the blockchain, so what's going on? How is shaping this our society? I really would like to see this and be part of this. So I'm definitely be different, but I have to agree that partly. You are right, yeah, when saying that often elderly can't imagine that yeah, their aging could stop. And I understand this because I also grew up with the mindset that from 60 onwards, yeah, a kind of life is over. Yeah, it dramatically changes, and you definitely experience a time with diseases. Yeah,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
this is a
I think
cultural narrative.
yes, it's the cultural narrative, and also I think it's more a psychological narrative. I think that um, even at an earlier age than that, most people have decided that things that do not change will never change. Things that have not changed yet will never change. And in particular, that things that are going to be very bad for them, things that are going to involve suffering and reduced quality of life, um, will um, will happen inevitably, and they try to make excuses for them even. They try to say, oh, the world would be a worse place if we did not have aging. And the reasons that they make up for saying this are really stupid reasons, but they still believe them because they feel they have to believe them in order to put aging out of their minds.
Yeah, and not being obliged to maybe change something in their lifestyle. Yeah,
Right, right.
changing their mindset and so on. Yeah, because you can do something about how you feel in age. Definitely. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, and this cultural narrative. Mm, is reconfirmed all the time. And then getting older, definitely you experience that your body is changing, yeah, and is maybe not that resilient like before. Yeah, so this also reconfirms the standard perception of aging, yeah. And this
yes,
is where now comes in now. Now, yeah. Now shall be the voice and the face of the elderly and show a different image of old people, and that we care about how we live today and how we are going to live, and and what we want to experience. Yeah, this is for all of us, but also for the ones who are following soon
yeah,
into our shoes.
definitely.
So there comes my question. If the potential breakthrough take at least another 10 years or 20 years, what shall we do in between, especially we older ones who love life and want to experience a healthy lifespan? What shall we do?
Well, of course, the people of at age 70 or so who are in the best place to do something are the people who have already done something, who have been living a healthy life and who are still, active both mentally and physically. So, as you have said, you're a good example of this. You are someone who has reached the age of 70 in a very good state of enjoying life and making the most of it. But of course, everybody can do something. What I always emphasize is that I do not have any special formula for this. That today we do not have any new way to do a lot better than we could before. Really, if you just live the way your mother told you to, then you are more or less doing all you can. Um, of course, some people do better than others for genetic reasons. They just, people often say the best way to live a long, healthy life is to choose your parents wisely. Um, but the um, the real way to make a difference is to do whatever you can to hasten the arrival of treatments, medicines that do not yet exist, that will be much more powerful than what we can do today. And so you're doing exactly that right now by interviewing me and giving your audience more information about this
Mm-hmm.
area and more
Mm-hmm.
understanding that this could
Mm-hmm.
happen. Therefore, that we should make it happen sooner. Um, of course, wealthy people can help the this work financially. Indeed, people who are not wealthy can help financially. Every dollar counts. Um, then people who are scientists or biologists can go into the right areas, the most impactful areas of biology, of medical research. But everybody can do advocacy. Everybody can talk to their friends and their colleagues and their family and
Yeah.
make people more enthusiastic about this.
Yeah, and a very important point. Community, supportive relationships are a very crucial element with regard to this, and this is why we are supporting regional groups and looking to kind of rebuild supportive communities, yeah, for
Yes.
healthier lifestyle means a happier lifestyle, and so the social connection is one of the pivotal elements of really, yeah, enjoying a long, healthy lifespan.
Yes.
No, it's not only about individual healthy lifestyle. In my opinion, it's also about our natural environment. So, does the scientific research take into account the environmental toxins we are
So,
exposed?
kinda. So, for sure, over life,
Mhm.
we accumulate certain environmental toxins like heavy metals in some of our cells. But actually, it's not very difficult to get rid of them because um, the majority of such toxins, the types of cell where they accumulate are fat cells, adipose tissue.
Mhm.
And the good thing about adipose tissue is that it responds to calorie intake, to how much you're eating. So it's possible to flush out the contents of adipose cells only partially, but partially is enough um, by essentially going through a period of fasting.
Mhm.
And and the contents of the cells is, some of it is released into the bloodstream, and from there it is released through, it is excreted. So one can get rid of heavy metals this way. There are also molecules called chelators, which are good at binding to these things, at grabbing hold of heavy metals and exporting them in the same kind of way. So yes, this is part of the research, but it's a relatively easy part of the process of keeping us young.
Mhm. Recently, I listened to a podcast of Andrew Huberman regarding the effect of microplastic, and I was shocked to understand that microplastic is all over in the body. Yeah, and you You breathe in microplastic, you drink microplastic, you eat microplastic. I was really shocked, and this really motivates me a lot to do something about it. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah,
Because
this is of course, yeah, of course, this is a new problem, a problem of the modern world because
Mhm.
plastic didn't exist before. Um, and yeah, I mean, this is something that we definitely need to be looking at. At the moment, there's very little data on how to eliminate these things. But the good news is that even though they accumulate in the body, that I am not aware, at least, of any evidence that they accumulate to a level that causes health problems. In other words, maybe it's a problem for the future, not so much a problem for right now.
And the Huberman mm, made a hint to some studies um, who are showing kind of relation that the microplastic have some impact to the hormones in the body. And I know that hormone-related cancer in age has is has developed in huge numbers. So, from my simple thinking, I'm
Yeah, I mean,
wondering if there
so
is
the second,
a correlation. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the second part of that, the role of you know, inappropriate hormonal balance in driving cancers, that's fairly established. There are some cancers certainly that are influenced by that. The first part is more uh, tentative, I think. Maybe there are some studies so far showing some correlation, but I think we are some way from understanding that there is really causality there.
Mhm. Okay. So science needs to look and dig deeper into this.
I think so.
Okay. Hmm. Yeah. Really, because this concerns me really because uh, in my let's say network of friends and relatives, I know a couple of older people who, yeah, got cancer. Yeah. So this concerns myself. Yeah. Is there a hidden threat, even though I'm feeling healthy? But yeah, this is a threat to me. So I would appreciate if science could have a breakthrough with regard to this. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I guess
Okay.
so.
Coming back to the breakthrough of stopping aging. So this means that we can expect and see a lot of old and very old people. And this is definitely, this shakes the society. Yeah, this is something totally new. And you were emphasizing that society, so everybody of us, should be a bit get ready for such a shift. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So how can we get ready for such a shift? Because 50% potential is 50%. Yeah. So
Well, right, yes.
after.
But for me, the most important thing to be getting ready for is the anticipation of this shift. So I don't think that we are going to see any significant change in lifespan in the next 5 years in our ability to control aging. I think maybe 10 years is the absolute minimum, and it could be 15 or 20 or more, right? Um, so it sounds like, we would be entitled to just wait and see and just not think about it until it comes along. But that's very dangerous because,
But very human, yeah. Human tend to
ye-
wait until they see the tiger behind the bush, and then
and then they run, yes. Yeah, the reason it's dangerous is that when society in general begins to expect this to come, they're going to have different motivations, different desires, different demands, different priorities. At the moment, almost everybody thinks that they will live only a few years longer than their parents did, and they design their lives accordingly on that around that expectation. That
Mhm.
defines big things, big ticket items like what kind of life insurance or health insurance they want, or their inheritance arrangements, or their pensions. And the problem is that when we make enough progress, even before the progress is available to people, even when the progress only happens in the laboratory, in like mice, for example, um, if we make enough progress, then people are going to realize that actually there's a good chance that they will live a lot longer than their parents did. The same thing that I'm already saying. Um, and the thing is, that's going to change what kind of pensions they want, what kind of life insurance, and so on. And it's going to happen very, very suddenly.
Mhm.
It will happen over a very short period because it will be triggered just by one or two experimental results that show that suddenly we are getting there. We are bringing aging under medical control, even if it's only in mice at first. And the way this is going to work is that people like me are going to be talking to people like you on camera, and they're going to be saying, "Yeah, we've made breakthroughs here. There is probably there's a good chance that we will bring aging under medical control for human beings within the next short while." Um, Now, I've been saying that for a long time, but I'm just one expert. The difference will be when most experts are saying that. And that doesn't
Mhm.
mean very many people. If you look at the list of people who know a lot about aging and who talk to the media a lot and do podcasts and so on, it's really like half a dozen of us. It's very, very few
Okay.
people, right? And if and I know those people. I know all of them really well, right? So I know um, what kind of breakthrough, what size of breakthrough is going to be needed to get them to say the kinds of things that I say, right? And it's not very big. It's not much. So I think that could happen in only maybe a few years, maybe 3 years from now. We could be seeing that kind of thing. And when most of the experts are saying that kind of thing, then the influencers, the big influencers, Oprah Winfrey, Mr. Beast, Joe Rogan, are going to be out there saying, well, we ought to do it sooner, really, than later. And so,
Mhm.
and the following day after that, it's going to be impossible to get elected unless you have a manifesto commitment to, throw a large amount of money at this problem.
Yeah, because then we have the problem how this can be made available for a big number of people. Yeah.
Right. And of
So,
course, that involves a lot of front loading of investment. Now,
yeah.
the good news is that governments will have maybe 10 more years after that to do that. But while these treatments are being developed and being, things that work in mice are being made to work in humans, during that time, there can be lots and lots of investment in infrastructure and, training of medical personnel and so on. Um, but still, it's going to be turbulent. There's going to be, it's going to be a war. It's going to be a true war on aging.
Hmm. I think so. Yeah. Yeah. And you mentioned government official institutions. First of all, they need really to value the age, yeah, and the old people then as an
Actually, no.
asset, yeah,
Yeah,
to
actually,
really
no.
be ready to make these kind of investments.
Actually, I don't think that governments need to be intelligent about this. I don't think there needs to be an appreciation of the value of the elderly. And the reason that's not necessary is because it all comes down to just boring mercenary economics. Having a lot of your population be sick and have,
Yeah,
consume a lot of money, that's just like it's economically undesirable. So
correct.
if
Yeah, and already a threat to society. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so if we have medicine that can stop that from happening, can keep people who were born a long time ago in a good state of health,
Mm-hmm.
then that saves a huge amount of money, even if it costs money to give people these treatments. Nevertheless, those treatments pay for themselves really quickly, many times over. And everybody in government is going to understand that. Even
Mm-hmm.
today, we see very, distinguished economists talking about that and talking about how much money would be saved for the global economy, even if we postpone the health problems of late life by 1 year. It's
Mm-hmm.
unbelievable numbers.
Yeah, because there is the opportunity that then the old ones, the very old ones, can be contributor to the economy, to the society, as
Yeah, I-
you have this vision, yeah, having much older people, agile like a young one, and but with the whole wisdom of the life experience, yeah, huge can hugely contribute to society's challenges and problems and demands and requirements. I see this like this, yeah. A benefit, an advantage for the older one as well, because you can find a new purpose in life. Yeah, you can enjoy your life, your old life, much better if you have a purpose, if you are participating in your community, whatever.
Definitely, definitely. And especially in the let's call it the generational divide. You know, at the moment, our life is defined by our expectation of life, by
Mm,
our expectation of how long we have to live and so on. It's not just the financial things that I was mentioning earlier, but also the cultural things. Like,
mm.
you know, older people may have much more to share with their grandchildren if they can keep up with their grandchildren on the dance floor, right? Which they currently can't.
Hmm. Yeah, or if they really can embrace the possibilities of AI. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because this opens up uh, yeah, a new world, no?
definitely.
So I see this definitely as a win-win situation for all of us. So in my person, you definitely have a promoter of such an outlook and perspective. And with regards to the work of now, we definitely want to change the perception of age and aging and supporting others, yeah, in doing the groundwork to keep us olders healthy and make the environment healthier. Yeah, this is a major issue.
Totally, totally. Yeah, I mean, the environment is something that people talk about a lot in this space because they say, oh dear, we already have too many people. We would have more people if people stopped dying. And that's so short-sighted because we don't actually have too many people. If you look at the number of people we have, it's like 8 billion. Everybody could have their own acre. An acre is a lot of space. Nobody would even need to live anywhere unpleasant. The only
Oh, there
real
are
problem,
so many innovations. There are so many innovations already available, yeah, in terms of agriculture and so on. So
well,
it's
the
just
big thing
a matter of decision. What
Yeah,
do
the
we
big thing
want?
is we're developing other technologies that will completely solve the problem that we have today, because the problem we have today is about pollution. We're putting too much carbon into the atmosphere, obviously, and we know that, but we are developing ways to take the carbon out again. And also ways to put less carbon in is like less agriculture, because of artificial meat, for example.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so you were mentioning microplastics earlier on. People are developing bacteria that can digest these plastics,
Yeah,
whether in
correct.
the body
Mm-hmm.
or in the environment, in the oceans, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, they're definitely not going to have an actual overpopulation problem for hundreds and hundreds of years, whatever happens.
Good to hear. Great. And from now, we are going to set up and build a database with innovative solutions that can be implemented nowadays to tackle some problems because there are so many solutions and best practices, but often regional groups or national people don't know about, yeah, and we
That's
want
true.
to bridge the gap of connecting and informing so that the changes can be made that are possible to make. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
our. Yeah.
definitely, definitely.
Okay, these were my two questions from my side regarding the article. Found it very interesting. Do you want to add something, Aubrey?
Well, really, I think you have touched on the most important issues, that this is probably coming soon and people need to be ready for it. Um, of course, once people realize that it's coming soon, then the question is how soon and what can we do to make it happen sooner? Because every single day,
Hmm.
110,000 people die of
Yeah.
the process of aging. And of course, they don't just die, they die after having spent a long time in a poor quality of life. Yeah, so it is the main humanitarian issue of our day is to make this happen. In my research, in my leading research to develop these things, the research is not going nearly fast enough because there's not enough resources. So, and I just have one small organization. We need governments to be putting much more into this.
Hmm. Okay. Funding. Funds.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for having me on your show. Um,
Thank you very much for your time and d- deeper insights into what you brought up with the article. Yeah, and maybe we can talk in soon future about another topic.
yeah, certainly. I would
Thank
be
you,
happy
Aubrey.
to.
Have a good day.
Same to you. Thank you. Bye for now.